So, as I said, it's the e-travel stage. We talk about e-technology, so technology trends. So now let's look into a specific sector. Let's look at alternative accommodations. So what's happening there? What's shaping that sector? It's a growing one, especially during the pandemic. They had an absolute high, right? So they were benefiting from it. So I'm keen to hear now from my three panelists that I invite on stage. It's Marilee Carr from the Under the Doormat Group, and we have Inga Flicker from Home to Go, and we have James Cassidy from Verbo from the Expedia Group. So thank you so much for being here. Take a seat, make yourself feel at home. Thank you. And again, you know the procedure if you've been here before. We do a proper introduction, so you get, everyone knows who we have here on stage, so we can also evaluate what you're sharing, what's the context. So Marilee, you are coming from the UK. You are the CEO and founder of Under the Doormat Group, but you also chair at the UK STAR, the Short-Term Rental Association. Yes. So will you share some words on Under the Doormat Group? Is there anything we need to know in particular? I know you're very good with technology, but will you give us a brief pitch?
So the Under the Doormat Group is a mix of property management company. So Under the Doormat and Vive, post our merger in December, are our two big brands. And we're the largest luxury operator of short-term rentals in London and Paris. Hosperia is our travel tech company, our SaaS technology enterprise software for short-term rentals. And our third company is Trusted Stays, which connects the short-term rental industry to the GDS and the business travel world.
Wonderful. So perfect you're here with us. Thank you so much. And then we have Inga Flicker from Home to Go Group. You are the Director of Small Partner Solutions. So you are really working with the ones applying technology. Can you share some words on Home to Go? What exactly are they doing in that space?
Yep, sure. So Home to Go is a marketplace that also provides solutions and services for the partners around the marketplace, focused on the vacation rental space, obviously. And my role is to focus on all the activities, the teams we have that build solutions and services, which are actually geared towards what we call small partners, which is hosts and very, very small property managers.
Right, okay, so a different niche sector from the entire sector. And then we have the big player, Expedia Group, everyone knows, right? So we just had Expedia on stage before, so great to have someone here again. James Cassidy, you are in charge of the partner success for vacation rentals, and that's then the brand Verbo, is that correct, at Expedia? Can you share some words on that?
Yeah, sure. So Verbo has been around since the late 90s. So it was one of the leading brands in vacation rentals, and we went about acquiring all of the leading brands in vacation rentals, kind of country by country. So we're very proud to have a German brand, Favo Direct.
Right.
Hopefully
Favo
some
Direct.
people here have booked on Favo Direct. I can see some people nodding. That brand has been around for 26 years this year.
Is it then a legacy player?
It's
26 years?
It's a foundational player, I would
Okay.
say. And so we have several brands. We have Abratel, and Verbo is our global brand. We have 2.5 million properties, something like that. And we like to think of ourselves as a foundational vacation rental marketplace. And it's a pleasure to join today.
Well, it's an honor to have you on stage and with all this expertise. So I can't wait to hear from you. And it's a question to all of you, and maybe we start with you. We did it in the sessions before, so let's see what the differences are. What would you say? What technology trends are shaping the sector of vacation rentals and short-term rentals? What are you seeing?
So I think for me, there's two really interesting trends. One, I think, is technology, and one is much more consumer. So the technology trend I think that we're seeing is that, especially in vacation rentals, the industry has historically been very fragmented. So you had PMSs, almost a dime a dozen. You had channel managers, you have apps that help with operations, you have finance solutions, and I like to call it death by Chrome tab. Because basically, if you've got 5 employees or 50 employees, you're still having to train all of them on 10 technologies just to get their job done. And so I think what we're seeing is the first enterprise solutions, so integrated technologies. And ultimately, that's why we built Hosperia, because we were an operator ourselves, and there was nothing in the market that provided that integrated solution. And I think especially now when we also talk kind of broader trends, what we see is the convergence across real estate, residential real estate, and short-term rentals. And that includes the convergence with hotels. More and more hotels have residences and are providing apartment-style inventory to their customers. And I think technology across all those sectors, residential real estate, short-term rentals, and hotels, has to start to integrate better. And I think what's great about our sector is that we are newer. We don't have the legacy technology that, the Operas of the world and everything have. And that makes us much more nimble and able to adapt to the changing needs of the growing industry.
Wow, okay, that's an opportunity. That's good there. So that we note down for later. So James, what would you say? I mean, being a foundational player in the market, what trends are you seeing in terms of technology impacting your
I would say three trends are important. We wouldn't be here talking about alternative accommodation if it wasn't for web technology that has brought the supply and the demand into vacation rentals at such a large scale. And then app technology brought in a new wave of demand and supply, and they continue to be important for Expedia, continue to be important for every player. I think there are many companies that don't have their own apps, but we're an app-first organisation at Expedia, and we see the benefits of app in terms of customer loyalty, in terms of repeat, in terms of attach. Extremely important to invest in app technology alongside your web technology. The next one is the ecosystem of companies in vacation rentals has proliferated over the last years. And I'm sure in the room we have companies that are property management software companies that have allowed the distribution democratization for small and medium property managers. We have the companies that are providing ancillary services, the automation of guest authentication, keyless entry, insurance sales, etc., etc. This ecosystem has proliferated, and now property managers are able to be more professional, get greater scale. We have some mega IPMs in the room that have tens of thousands of properties under management thanks to this sort of technology. So it's allowed scale, it's allowed professionalism, and it's allowed profitability growth. And then the last one is AI and machine learning.
Right.
Yeah?
Yes.
AI and machine learning. We've been using machine learning for our fraud detection service now for several years, using billions of data points to identify which traveller is a potential fraud. We've used that internally, and we've started exposing that externally for companies to adopt. AI, we use AI for a conversational generative AI for trip planning, and have done. We're a first mover in using ChatGPT, both an integration and a plugin since last year. We use it for, we've got a pilot running right now on Vrbo using AI to identify which of your property's photos is the best photo to place first in front of the traveller to drive the best conversion. And we're using AI to select those photos. So I think this is a trend that's going to continue to bring that next wave of growth in both demand and supply,
and massive scale,
conversion,
right?
and profitability.
Yes, wonderful. Okay, Inge, from your perspective at Home2Go, I mean, you said you're serving more the smaller players, right? The single
Home2Go
ones.
serves both larger and smaller players. Just my particular area.
Your particular area. Okay, what are you seeing there? What are you seeing?
I would say maybe adding on top to what James just started to explore. We would at Home2Go definitely also see AI as the mega trend. Though I think what it really is, AI is a tool which actually fosters megatrends or supports megatrends, which are about extreme personalization and hypercharged innovation and hypercharged efficiency. So when we go back to actually considering AI really as more a tool than a trend, we at Home2Go would basically then say our purpose is as a marketplace to match supply and demand. So how can this tool be leveraged to support, if we bring it to my particular area, support small partners and actually better matching supply and demand? And then I think where AI will really be revolutionizing, especially the area for small partners, is that it actually puts professional game level, if one can say so, supply and demand matching solutions at the fingertips of small partners. So it will ultimately allow them to create level playing field with much larger professional players that have access to more resources and hence allow them to actually drive and make their businesses flourish ever more by leveraging AI, the tool, the trend, however you want to say.
Right, okay, that makes sense, of course, and we heard that a lot, right, that AI is a facilitator for that, creating a level playing field. And given also in the alternative accommodation space, the amount of technology solutions that you could choose for is plenty, right? There's plenty and there's big fragmentation. So what would you say, how would you approach as a property management company or property manager, how would you approach to select your right tech stack? Where do you start and how do you get the right mix of tools and platforms together? Marilee, what would you say? Especially also with your role as an association, that's a question you probably get often.
Absolutely. I think it depends, first of all, who you are and what you want to achieve. So as Inga was talking about, if you are an individual host or a small property management company versus a large one, there are different technologies out there. Price is obviously one of the considerations that you'll take into account. But I think it also depends on where you want to distribute. So what mix of OTAs you want to be distributing to, what are your target markets? So I think all of those are considerations. But I think the number one thing that we learned, and I say this from as a property manager ourselves, as Under the Doormat and Vive, is that you want a tech stack that is going to automate things and take away manual work. Because paying a little bit extra for technology and not just going for the cheapest technology will often save you significant amount of money on resources and also errors. You know, if you're copying, pasting things across systems, that's bound to cause issues. If you can automate more of the guest experience so that your people can focus on providing that personalized touch to the people who really need it, all of those types of things are going to help you to be more profitable as a business. So I think my number one recommendation would be to think about what is going to help your business be profitable rather than just comparing the cost of the system. Which is, I think, sometimes in our sector, the error that people make is, I'm just going to go for the cheapest option.
Right. Which usually never really plays off, right? If you go for the cheapest option. Inga, you said it yourself, right? That's the area you're very well known in. So what do you say? What's your tips? How would you approach this as a...
I think maybe a little bit adding to what you just said. I think on top of that, what we see, what typically works best, especially for private hosts, so very, very small players, start from assessing what is the core need you have, the core problem you want to start solving, and go for a solution that helps you to actually tackle exactly this. So not for a mega solution that gives you tons of things you don't need, but really identify what's the need you have to address first, and then find the tool that allows you to address this need, but make sure that either the tool or the tech stack you're building allows you to grow with you as your needs evolve over time, which then is the most second important thing for them to actually have in mind, reassessing over and over again, how have my needs evolved? What's the next piece, the next solution, the next feature to add or activate in the solution I'm actually using? And if I could give a recommendation based on what we see from a lot of hosts that actually work with our tools, maybe they also want to use some sort of a framework. Like it could be something as like applicable as the Moscow IT framework, which like our engineers, for example, use. Always going from what's the must-have, what's the should-have, what's the could-have, and what's for sure the will not have, to also really be very explicit on what you don't want from your solution at this point in time, in order not to overload yourself when you're actually starting to take things into use.
Right. Okay. I see. And James, when I work with Verbo as someone from the alternative accommodation sector, I'm clearly also looking to, of course, generate demand for my property. That's one of the main challenges, right? Do you have some advice there? So how would you select technology in that regard to solve that problem?
Yeah. So we work with hundreds of software companies to connect to our platform. Amazing companies. Many of them are exhibiting. Some of them may be in this room. We do an annual list to help our partners choose. We publish a list of elite and preferred software companies on our website. Those that have the best quality integrations, those that have the best booking success rate, those that have the fastest adoption of our new APIs. And so you can check that list of elite and preferred software partners to help you choose potentially the one that best suits you to make your connection to Verbo. And then in terms of demand, we, unsurprisingly, our sort algorithm uses data points, with the millions of properties and the many, many millions of travellers booking on our platforms. We look at from the moment the traveller sees one of your properties in the search results, the experience through to clicking on that, going onto the PDP, the property details page, attempting to book. Do they get the booking? Is the booking then subsequently cancelled or not, or fulfilled? Is the pre-stay, stay and post-stay guest experience excellent? Do they submit reviews, and what's the quality of the experience of the traveller? So think about it from the data that we collect and we use to help sort properties. And if you are providing the very best traveller experience in that entire flow for travellers, then you will have the best chance to get the best results from our marketplace. And if technology enables you to improve that experience, then use that technology. If human interaction allows you to improve that experience, use the human interaction. They work hand in hand, and that's how you get the best from our marketplace.
Right, I understand. And you mentioned this in the first part. You said the connection is important, right? That you connect the right systems, that you have access to the data. There come standards in, right? And interoperability. Ingrid, I think that's a major challenge, right? So you have some tools, you select them, but then they have to work together. And how do you make sure this is a seamlessly working tech stack? Do you have some tips there, like how to approach this?
I would say for Home2Go, so being a marketplace that is all about connecting the different players in the industry, what we really think is the most important thing is dare to be boring. So stick to boring tech. Boring does not mean bad. It means simple, it means integratable, it means something that actually everybody can jump on and connect with, quite like the APIs you just mentioned. So, and what we as players in the industry can all do, we can obviously collaborate to align our data models, the standards around the ontologies, the vocabularies we use about it to make it as accessible as possible for everybody. And then when I reflect back on my specific area again at Home2Go, what we can do is we can actually provide solutions to small partners who leverage this very same idea, installing the integratability by actually really leaning on super simple standards that allow them to connect with the biggest ecosystem you could possibly think. If I take, for example, Smoobu, a channel manager solution we have for hosts in the group, this is exactly what Smoobu does. So they are ultimately nothing, and pardon me for saying nothing, but they are ultimately a software solution that establishes exactly this, the maximum standardized integratability of different services a host needs across the entire ecosystem.
Right. And there's another keyword I want to dive into, ecosystem, right? And then we have the silos in the industry. And for long, we said like there's the hotel industry, then we have the alternative accommodation sector. But there is some interest, right? So you see hotel groups moving into the space, obviously. Like Accor has plenty of brands now serving the long stay or short-term rental spot. So Marilee, what would you say? You have residential real estate companies coming into the sector, hotel groups being interested. Do you have some advice for them? What you consider, how to navigate a fragmented tech landscape?
Look, I think from an ecosystem perspective, this is already happening. I mean, at Under the Doormat, we already work with institutional real estate, Cadogan Estates, Canary Wharf Group, Long Harbour, just to name a few. And on the flip side, you also have the whole hotel industry. You mentioned Accor with One Fine Stay. You've got Marriott Homes and Villas. But increasingly, even on the tech side, what we've found is that players in the hotel industry who want to enter this market with villas and residences, etc., what they find is that hotel technology is not suited for short-term rentals.
Why is that?
Because, quite frankly, the hotel systems are built on the concept of a big building. And short-term rentals are, by their very nature, fragmented. They're all individual units. And it's much easier, and for example, how we built Hosperia was that we said we have individual building blocks, individual units or individual homes that can also look like a building. Mm-hmm. And that's much easier to do than it is to take a building structure and architecture of the technology, and separate it out into individual units. And so that fundamental technology architecture means that systems in the short-term rental sector can more easily be used to distribute into the hotel world than vice versa.
I see, right. Mm-hmm.
And so we found that hotel companies are coming to Hosperia and saying, well, we've got our hotel technology over here for our hotel buildings, but where we've got residences or apartments, we need a different tech solution. And that's where Hosperia can help. But I think over time, we're going to see the consolidation across those two segments of the industry. And I mean, obviously, the hotel technology companies have deeper pockets. So it will be really interesting to see how those things consolidate and what moves we see over the coming years to bring those two pieces of the puzzle together. But OTAs like Expedia are in many ways leading the way because they're leading with consumers being able to choose those products side by side already.
And not only that, I mean, you leveraged the loyalty program, right? I mean, Expedia was busy the past years to become way leaner than they have been before. So now if I am a member of your loyalty program, I can stay at a vacation rental, but I can also stay at a Ritz-Carlton, but I can use my points, right?
Yes, I'm
I'm
very glad, Leah, that you are a One Key member of Expedia. Thank you very much. I encourage everyone. So we are rolling out the global loyalty program, One Key, and that allows you, if you book a hotel or a flight on Expedia, to then earn One Key cash to then spend on a Vrbo property or a Favo Direct property.
Which serves a trend, right? Because if you look at Bleasure, for example, I mean, you go for business, but then you want to use your loyalty points ideally on the family vacation.
Yeah. Like, you know, sometimes I stay in a hotel, occasionally, not very often, but for work. I am this week. And if I'm getting loyalty points, I'm probably wanting to stay at an apartment or a house with my little family on holidays. So we already have over 100 million members on One Key. We launched in the US last year. We're rolling out starting off with the UK as our first global market outside the US this year, coming soon for London, merrily. And then subsequently to Germany, to France, etc. Across all our points of sale, Vrbo, Expedia, hotels.com. Wonderful way to increase bookings for vacation rental properties.
Yes, I see. And I mean, we have 2.5 minutes left. So you can see it's too little time for so much to discuss because there's so many trends we could dive into, I think. There's even more to talk about. Maybe we should think about a vacation rental day at ITB so we can be a bit deeper about the topics. Right now we're on the surface still. So make sure to connect with the speakers. But do you have a final brief advice from each of you? If I want to get started to innovate with my technology, where do I go to? Where do I inform myself? Is there some advice you would give a property manager where to start?
So, look, I think the associations are, of course, a great place to start because you can find out which companies are members of the association. And there are conferences dedicated to short-term rentals. So,
what's your favorite one? Do you have a favorite one? Can you recommend one?
Yeah, I mean, look, the biggest European conference is the Short Stay Summit, which is on the 24th of April in London.
Soon.
So if you want to know anything about the short-term rental world, that probably is the leading European conference on the topic. And you'll have everyone there, from tech vendors to property management companies to everything.
We'll
and James will
You'll be there, yes, as a foundational player. I mean, that's a must.
Have to.
Absolutely. So I think that's a great place to look.
Yes.
But look, come and speak to me. Obviously, I'm happy to speak about our company, but as an association leader, I think it's really important that people always explore options. And I'm very happy to talk about some of the options on the market and see where I can help. Because as a property management company ourselves, we know the struggles. And if you don't get the technology right, it can be the thing that kills your business. And if you do get it right, it can be the thing that really enables your growth, your great customer experience, and also a highly motivated team that are excited about the work they do.
Right. And Inga, do you have something to add? Where would you inform yourselves about trends or staying on top of news?
I think I would look less into, or if you allow me, not answer the question of where to inform yourself, because I think Marilee has amply elaborated on that. But maybe to add a little bit on what you just started saying on how to navigate this. I think I would always advise every small host especially to start considering you are what is the success of your business. So you're driving this success with the power, the operational power you can put behind it, but also with your own personality in terms of making your vacation rental stand out and be special. So when you're going out and starting to inform yourself about who can help you, try to find partners that actually really elevate you, so that actually really allow you to bring out what is you and continue to be you and yourself in your business. And I think this typically comes best with partners that really, on the one hand, understand your business and obviously have a service attitude in what they are doing. And then if you find those partners that really understand your business and take the time to really put the effort in helping you, they could then also help you and navigate towards the next solution you may want to or have to go in the next step, basically.
Right, thank you, Inga. And you, James, having the last word of this round.
Yeah,
Pressure is on.
to stay ahead of the competition, read the traveller research. Be on top of the traveller trends, because people don't read it. There's a lot out there. Expedia does excellent research every year, self-funded with partners, with travellers, VR, hotel, travel in general. Three trends this year. You should ask yourself, do you know what they mean? Outside in, go occasions, and set jetters. Does anyone know what that means? No. Then Google Expedia research insights and find out. That's how you stay ahead.
Or you just visit them at their wonderful booth and you just get
visit
into a
us,
conversation
or
with them about it
online.
directly. And then you, next to it, close by is Home to Go, and then merrily you are around, right, the next days as well. And of course they have LinkedIn, so you find them online. So make sure to connect. And thank you so much for being here with me, James Cassidy from Expedia Verbo, and Inga Flicker from Home to Go, and Merrily Carr from Under the Dormant Group. It was an honor. I wish you a wonderful ITB. Yes, thank you everyone. And we're up for the next session.